different type of podcast today. So usually, you guys know Wednesdays are simulcast days, which is me and Big Shrimp Radio together, just chit chatting about our day and stuff like that. But since we're taking a small hiatus off of the simulcast for a little while, I figured that I would come in here every Wednesday like I used to do before the simulcast even happened and talk about just random things. And today was going to be my top 10 Garth Brooks songs versus the Boots top 10 Garth Brooks songs. But I got home a little later than expected, and so figured I'd go ahead and do this instead of getting all the music going and stuff like that. So we're going to do the top Pixars of all time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, I got all 23 films here written down, and I have them in order. My favorite from, we're going to start at 23, which is my least, all the way to number 1, which is my favorite. So without further ado, let's go right now. Number 23 on top Pixar films, in my opinion, is Brave. Brave was a very boring movie to me. Nothing happened. It was not funny like it was usual. There was a lot of hype around Brave. A lot of people were, oh my God, you got to see this movie. This movie is fantastic. But in actuality, the movie was just not good, in my opinion. I thought the movie was actually kind of rough. I mean, it was rough bits in and out. So 23 is Brave. 22 is Cars 2. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me on the worst ones. And I'm going to give a small explanation as to why. So Cars 2, Cars was such a big movie at the moment when it came out. I mean, it was made over $100 million when it first, was released. And if you guys hear that humming in the background, that is my air conditioner. And no, I'm not turning it off. It's hot as balls in this room, in the studio. So, Cars 2, I just think it did not live up to the hype as it should have. And I thought the movie was actually boring. It was kind of cool to see like a James Bond spy movie into an animated movie like this and do it with actual cars. But I just think the story fell flat. The movie was not as funny. It was not as good as the first one. So 22 is Cars 2. These next three are what's going to really kill people here. 21, I'm going to put Monsters University. I did not think this movie needed to be made. I thought what they did with the first one was excellent, was fine, was precise, a perfect film. And then they announced that they were going to do a second one. I was like, okay, Toy Story 2 worked, and Toy Story 3 really worked after, like 15 years. I mean, it wasn't that long, but just roll with me. So maybe Monsters University will work. And it did not. I did not. I don't care how Mike and Sully and Randall and I don't care how they met, because they kind of explained it in the first one. Like, they knew each other since second grade. But then the Monsters University, it kind of changes the pace of the first film because they did not know each other until college. And it's kind of a backward statement of, okay, cool, we're going to do it here, but this, we're going to do this. I did not like Monsters University. It was funny. The story was okay, but it's not rewatchable, in my opinion. I think they should have just stuck with their guns and stuck with the first one. And they're doing a new series on Disney Plus, and I wish they would have waited to either, maybe if Monsters University would have been a show or something like that, like a kind of like a WandaVision, I guess, then maybe it would have been okay. 20 is Incredibles 2. I was super ecstatic and very excited to watch Incredibles 2. Because the first one just let off and it was a freaking cliffhanger. And I loved when Incredibles 2 first started, when I was sitting in the theaters eating my popcorn, And it started exactly where the first one left off. And I said, oh my goodness, this movie is going to be fantastic. The movie, after that first part that kind of shows you what happens after the first one ends, was actually slow, was actually a little boring, didn't really make the first one feel as loved as I thought it did. So Incredibles 2 is at number 20. I thought about putting number 19 lower on the list. Toy Story 4. Now, Toy Story, I'm going to go ahead and give you the number one spot. It's Toy Story. Toy Story is my all-time favorite Pixar movie, an animated movie of all time. And 2 was great. 3 was good, was really good. But 4, I didn't think they needed to make 4 because how the third one ended, where Andy going off to college and he passes the toys along to this new girl named Bonnie, was a perfect way to end the series. It was a perfect way to end the sequel, and was a perfect way to, you can make a TV show out of this, as in, okay, well, let's go this route and let's explore Bonnie a little bit, but let's also explore Andy. What was happening between the events of 2 and 3? I think if they were going to make a sequel, I think they should have just left 4 and Bonnie and all that, Forky and all that out of it, and should have went between the first two, the last 2 films, 2 and 3. Because you don't really know what happens. You just know he's a kid in it. It kind of shows you in like a 30-second sequence that he grew up, got tired of playing with toys. But you want to see those adventures because that's what drew you within the first and the second one, were the adventures that Andy had. And you can't stand Andy to lose these toys. So Toy Story 4, I think it screwed the whole series up, in my opinion. So 4 should have been on the list. This one's going to be quick. 18's Wall-E. Never seen it, so I figured I would put it here. Can't judge it. Never seen it. 17 is Onward. I thought this movie was a little bit overrated, in my opinion. It was funny. It was good. But I could not buy... Tom Holland was good as an animated voice, but I could not buy Chris Pratt. I think he kind of made the movie a little rough for me to watch. Now, the plot twist in the end of Onward was really, really great. Like, fantastic. And I wish the whole movie would have been like that, because then you just go into, the mom's looking for him with this stupid lion that's not funny. So, yeah, Onward is just a crippled miss. 16 is The Good Dinosaur. And I am for some reason, I just am a fanatic of like pirates and dinosaurs and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh man, this could be like the Disney made a movie called Dinosaur back in the early 2000s. And I remember loving it when I was a kid. And I was like, okay, I enjoy this. I'm going to go see this. So as I'm sitting in a theater, again, with my popcorn. You got to have popcorn to watch a movie. Maybe a little peanut M&Ms inside the popcorn, get a little salty sweet. But when I was watching this, I was watching it, and I said, okay, I love it. And then after the thing happens in the beginning, and then it says, today, kind of made me turn off the movie, because it was like, so you're saying dinosaurs live in this time today? Okay, thank you. Don't need to see anything else. If they would have said, whatever, 0 BC or year 0, and there was, dinosaurs there, and then it said 25 years later, and it's the year 25, that would have been fine. Maybe even 100 years later would have been fine. But present day kind of threw off for me. Cars 3 takes the 15 slot here. Cars is one of those that the sequels were terrible. And Cars 3 was a little bit better than Cars 2. But again, and I had a problem with Toy Story 4 on this. Cars 3 kind of mainly focused on Lightning McQueen, and it kind of took the side characters out of it, which I think Toy Story 4 did as well. You know, if you're not a Woody fan, then you're not going to care for Toy Story 4 that much because no one else is really in it. You know, they're here and there, and they say a few lines, but other than that, and that's what Cars 3 was. Lightning McQueen's training to run this race, and he has to go to this training camp. It introduced new side characters, and I didn't care about, and I'm pretty sure no one else cares about either. So that's my thoughts on Cars 3. It was a little bit better than Cars 2, but at least Cars 2 had Mater in it, and it had a couple of others in it. But man, Cars 3 was a really bad sequel. 14 is Ratatouille. I like Ratatouille. It's not my favorite. I remember the first time I watched it, I fell asleep. I fell asleep in it because I thought it was actually boring. But I watched it back and I was like, you know what? It's not boring, but it's not great. It's in there between it's okay and it's good. But it beats out all these other ones because it's kind of cool to see Patton Oswalt, you know, a great comedian and one of the funniest guys in comedy today, be a voice actor. And it was really funny seeing, you know, the rats. That's kind of what captivated me was they took the thing of the rat stealing food and making it into a movie and not forgetting that part. Inside Out takes 13th spot now. There's really not much to say about this one, but it was a really good movie. I enjoyed, you know, the things in your head trying to play with you, and oh my God, your anger, and then you try to figure out who you are within this whole movie, and I really enjoyed that. 12 is Finding Dory. This was an okay sequel. I liked how they took it from the Finding Nemo and they reversed it. I loved that. Because it would have been very crappy if it was Finding Nemo 2 and then, you know, they had to find Nemo again. Nemo got lost. Like, dude, didn't you learn your first time getting lost? But this time, it's Dory. And why I say this is more believable. Sure, Nemo got kidnapped by these boaters and stuff, like went to a dentist office. But I love the fact that they used which I think they had to, but they could. She has short-term memory loss, and they used that as an advantage instead of a point that they could have drilled into our heads and kind of made us sick of it, which they actually didn't. And it was funny. It gave us more characters that I'm actually interested to see, like the octopus. I thought the octopus was funny. Hank was his name, I think. So, yeah, I really enjoyed 11. I have Soul for 11. Again, I think this was a very overrated Pixar movie because people are saying this is one of the greatest animated Disney movies of all time. And I watched it, and I thought it was all right. It was good. I did a movie review on it. You can go back and go listen if you want to. But I put it here because I honestly didn't know where to put it. I didn't. It's definitely not my top 10. Maybe I could have switched Soul and Finding Dory a little bit now that I'm sitting here looking at it. Maybe I could have done that. Maybe I could have put it on down. But Soul, I think, was a good movie. I was just a bit confused in it, and I don't know. I don't know if I was supposed to be or if I missed something, but if I was confused, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other people that were confused as well. Now we're into the top 10 of my favorite Pixar films. And number 10, this was a hard list to make, but taking the number 10 spot is Toy Story 3. Beautiful sequel. Thought I should end it. Not going to say much because I was talking about Toy Story 3 a lot into Toy Story 4. So I think they should have ended it here. Would have been a perfect ending to a movie series. Number 9 is A Bug's Life. This is one that I'm glad that they have not made a sequel. Because I think the first one A Bug's Life was just so really, really brilliant, and how DreamWorks put out Ants the same time that, Disney put out A Bug's Life, and A Bug's Life just completely demolished Ants, which I don't even really remember Ants all that much. I remember it had Sylvester Stallone in it, but that's about it. But A Bug's Life is really funny. Flick. The movie was cute. It was beautiful. It was funny. And it was not what you expected to go in talking about A Bug's Life. Like, you didn't expect Flick was this fumble guy that always, you didn't expect him to go on a trip. And these people, it was everything that a sequel could not do. Number 8. And I struggled with this, but I put Toy Story 2 at number 8. This easily could have been in my top 5. Easily. And I'm sitting here regretting this because I'm reading what I wrote, which I wrote in pen, so I couldn't go in here and erase it and change it. So number 8 is Toy Story 2, which is a phenomenal sequel. Probably, well, I'm not going to say probably, it is the best sequel of all the Disney Pixar films. And I think they did that for a reason, because Toy Story is kind of the baby of Pixar. It was the first film. So, yeah, I mean, I loved the turn of, you think this guy's the heel or the bad guy, and actually it's this person, and that's kind of cool. And it kind of sees the people, the side characters come into one big piece instead of just introducing them and they become this thing in the third one. Brilliant to me. Up is number 7. And what a movie this is. I can watch Up every day and still not grow tired of it. What kind of gets me, though, are the conspiracy theories behind Up. Like, Carl is dead, and so Russell is the guardian angel of Carl trying to earn his wings. It is crazy. I don't believe it, but Up is just a fantastic, beautiful movie. And I'm not going to talk a lot about these because you guys already know how great these movies are. The Incredibles takes number 6. Like I said, I love superheroes. I love Marvel. I love DC. And to see this into a cartoon that's not, that's not branched off of a Marvel or a DC universe was fantastic, man. This movie easily could have went top 5, but number 5 took the spot from The Incredibles. So, and then that plot at the end of it, man, it just left a big hole. And then, yeah, we've seen it ruined in Incredibles 2, but yeah, 6, The Incredibles was really good. Number 5 is the first Disney Pixar movie that made me cry, and that's Coco. Man, Coco. And it's not my heritage, so I don't really understand the whole Hispanic heritage around it. But the movie of him trying to find, oh my goodness. That whole movie there is just one big masterpiece. And then they kind of considered it like, you don't think that's going to happen, but I kind of guessed that around the middle of the movie, so I can't say much. That surprised me, what the shocker in the middle, close to the end of the movie. But man, the end of Coco where he's singing "Remember Me," man, killed me. Cars is number 4. Again, this movie was brilliant. Was a perfect animated movie. Was not too long. Was not too short. Got the point across in the first 30 minutes. You knew what was happening. The dialogue was great. The comedy was from beginning to end. The movie Cars is just fantastic. Larry the Cable Guy did an interview talking about getting the role for Mater. If you guys have not watched that, you need to check it out. It's very satisfying. Number 3 is Monsters Incorporated. I went to the movies when I was younger and saw this movie 4 times. Let's see, I was probably 4 or 5, maybe a little older when it came out. but another perfect movie. My favorite scene in Monsters Incorporated is when they go into the snow and they meet the abominable snowman. That whole movie is great. You know, they find a love for a human, and humans are supposed to kill monsters. They flipped it on us, and it was perfect. Perfect. Number 2 is Finding Nemo. Number 2 is Finding Nemo. Again, I'm not going to talk a lot about Finding Nemo because, you know, we talk a lot about it in Finding Dory. But another perfect movie. Was funny. Kept you on the edge of your seat. Was great. Fantastic. Number 1, of course, is the greatest animated movie to ever be created. The first animated movie to be animated fully on a computer. The first movie Steve Jobs was trusted with to make, and it became a blockbuster hit and made Pixar what it is today. It made Disney look in their tracks and say, oh shit, Pixar's got us. Toy Story. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Jim Varney, Don Rickles. You've got them all. Toy Story is 100% perfect, 100% classic, 100% authentic, 100% perfection. I just said perfection twice, but Toy Story is easily the best animated movie Pixar has ever created and any animation studio has ever created. So there are my top Pixar films from 23 all the way to 1. I'm ranking the Pixar films. So hope you guys are enjoying this Wednesday. This is going up really early like they always do.